Welcome to the Protector Culture Podcast with Jimmy Graham. Jimmy is a veteran U.S. Navy SEAL, a former protective officer for the CIA Global Response Staff, founder and CEO of the Able Shepherd Program, a husband and father of 4, and a personal friend of mine. Now here's Jimmy.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Protector Culture Podcast with Jimmy Graham. I'm your host, Jimmy Graham. Who do I got in the house today? 86er. Got 051, so Brian Karsh behind the camera, making it all happen again. And Jason Campbell, what's up, brother? Welcome back.
How you doing? Thank you.
Oh, and Able Shepherd 001, Jimmy Graham, what's up? How you doing, man?
I'm doing well. I'm always well. Back here.
What brings you in town?
Well, that might be part of the show and tell.
I mean, we got a shotgun on the table. We might as well just get off into it.
Sure.
Actually, this one is, we're going to do a gear review. So we're always talking about gear. Everybody that we work with and train with, we love new gear. There's certain things that just grab you and we want to talk about them. Not all of these we're recommending because we're still in the process. I really like to wear something, use something for a long time. Some of this stuff's relatively new, but we want to talk about it. This is one that you may want to consider going on to the video portion. If you're driving on the street, definitely check it out. We'll have some conversations about some of this stuff. But you're going to get more out of it if you go to the protectorculture.com, check out our YouTube channel, and the exact same audio, but you're going to see what we're talking about because you're going to want to see this because it's cool stuff, especially with Christmas coming. So we got, a lot of folks or a lot of people ask us what, their guy, sometimes even their gal might want for Christmas. So this is probably going to be a timely episode. So let's just jump off into it. What brings you in town?
Goodness. A whole bunch of goodness.
Straight goodness.
Yeah, absolutely. You know what brings me into town, Jimmy Graham?
Yeah. Breach her up.
That's right.
So we're doing some research, talking about some of the gear again. Just letting people know this is going to be one of our recommendations. I'm pretty confident about that. But we are always looking at what is the next thing, like what is going to be the thing that adds value to this community, to protecting people. One of the things that came to the surface was, what if a quality door locked is between you and those in your care? Somebody needs your help, a door is locked, and you need to get through it. There are ways around it. So we are going to play around with a master key. Mm-hmm. We're going to talk about some of those things that in a professional world, breaching is a thing that is commonly used, commonly trained. There's a lot of lessons learned, and we're bringing that to our community. So we just had an amazing day of training yesterday. It was so good. Immediately, I think shotguns, demolishing things turns guys into 10 years old like that, and it is amazing. So it was an awesome day. We got all the data we needed from a now good friend. I didn't know him before, but a professional that we brought in for this kind of instruction. And there's a relationship to be built there. He'll be back out here. So thanks a lot, brother. You know who you are. And I appreciate all of that. We will take what we learned, mash it into a curriculum for this community. So that's what brings you in town, as a special guest of me and BK coming out and having a lot of fun.
The other thing that brought me into town is a product that isn't going to be part of this. Mm-hmm. I have this amazing dog.
Yes.
That's going into protector training. And so his trainers are down here. And so it's pretty fun for me to get to bring Moses down. And he's just starting on his journey.
Shepherd. And
he is super impressive already. And so that's pretty exciting.
That's so awesome. Yeah. So good.
Yep.
And you provided part of the curriculum. I mean, we're testing gear, right? So one of those. Yep. Do you want to talk about that for a minute? We'll just jump right off into this one.
Yeah, I can talk about that. It's I'm from Missoula, as most of you know, and just down the road from me, there's a good friend of mine that's Idaho State Patrol, mm-hmm. and part of his network of folks is a guy, Cody, who lives in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. And they've developed, his company, Genesis Arms in Coeur d'Alene, has developed a line of breacher model shotguns that are on an AR platform that have 10-round magazines. So it's all of the body mechanics that we're already familiar with. It's just sending a whole lot more junk downrange.
Yep.
And it's so satisfying.
So satisfying. I love our guest instructor that came out, a total professional. And he was like, hey, does somebody else want to shoot this? Because I've done this. I'm like, brother, go grab that giggle box and get to it. And he grabs it and he goes through after the buck of a shotgun. And once you know how to use it, it doesn't hurt, it doesn't whatever, you just know how to use it, right? And then having that buffer tube and the buffer spring and going, it just doesn't do what you think it's going to do as a shotgun. You think it's going to kick your teeth in. Not really. It's just going to buck. And it just, and he goes through, whap, 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 shoots all the hinges off, kicks the door, turns around. He's like, this is freaking awesome. And we're like, yes, that's what we thought, right? So cool. Where is that thing, by the way? Is it in your truck? Is it in my house?
It's at your house.
Dang it, man. I'm like, go get that thing. Well, we're still testing, where we're heading with this. And that is on the upper tier of, we always want to have something affordable that'll do the job, right? Because it is just when you don't have Uncle Sugar, federal government paying for your stuff or the SEAL teams or whoever, and you got to buy it. We understand for most people that cost is a thing, so some of the stuff up here is some bucks, but we usually don't go crazy with it. Something like that, I think, as Jason alluded to, there is a lot to be said for you can have a 22, you can have a 9mm, you can have 5.56, you can have a shotgun, you can have a 308, you can have a 6.5 Creedmoor, you can go hunt elk with an AR platform. What does that mean? It means, and even sometimes when you get into like a SIG MPX or something like that, I wouldn't call it an AR, but the controls are set up the same, which means the second you pick it up, a lot of your training is done. Like where your hands are going to go when you have to push a button with your finger to drop a mag, slam a new one, turn it sideways and smack the bolt catch. Like things like that just come because you've invested, most of your life into that platform. Now you're just doing it with a shotgun. Like if I pick up a Benelli, I got to stare at it for a minute and get reacquainted with everything. Even this guy, it's like I've used them, done surgical shotgun with pump gun, blah, blah, blah. You look at it for a minute and then your hands don't really automatically just go there. Like in milliseconds where it just does with my AR, right? So it's just sweet when I was handling that Gen 12. It's just, mag in, smack it, boom, boom, boom. You're doing all this stuff, flipping it back on safe, back on fire. It's just, there's no real questions.
And that, it's interesting. I have a Benelli M4.
Yep.
And it's training to do like the violin loading where it's up on your deal up there and this and that and the other thing. That's a whole unique skill set. Dropping a mag on an AR and sending the bolt forward and like that's just that.
Yeah,
fast.
you even think about it. It's like you didn't have bullets, now you have bullets. Like boom, done.
Yeah.
No shells. Now what?
Right.
Whatever.
Right.
And that's just getting the thing back online. So that's awesome. We'll do another one on that because we are going to go meet those folks and talk and further that conversation. What an amazing day of testing that kind of equipment. And not only just the AR, knowing the platform and making your hands go there, becoming second nature, but just that rapid fire as fast as you can pull the trigger, taking a door apart. That's cool. There's no pump action. There's no putting racking it and then settling a bead and doing all that kind of stuff and try it. Just go.
Yeah.
Right. You let it eat. Just go. Right. Let it chew on doors. Okay. This is a Mossberg Shockwave. This is something about having the bird head grip on here instead of a pistol grip. Makes it legal, and it's still just a mystery that's eluding me. All the laws about shotguns and what makes them different than ARs and pistols and all that stuff. I just know it's legal. We are playing with this, and I apologize, Parker. You're gonna have to square me away on the name of this, the manufacturer. We're gonna do more on this. It is in the testing phase. What it allows us to do is mount this on a rail system. I'll just call it a V. It's basically the male end of a V clamp that goes into my belt. So this lives right behind my magazines. My pistol magazines on my left-hand side, right behind my elbow. That's where this guy rides. And we'll put this on here in a second. I'm gonna Dr. J all up, and he's gonna have it all figured out. And this thing is gonna go pointing to the ground, clicked onto my hip, and it's going to ride behind my left arm, right? So I'm using my primary, I'm using my secondary, I'm doing whatever I need. Then you get that breacher up call because there's a locked door. Off comes this guy. It's already loaded on safe, and then it goes to town. Now, we left some just decorative. This has all been cleared and safe, and it's good to go. Nothing in the tube, nothing in the chamber, nothing in the feed ramp. So these were just left on. Obviously, this is called a shotgun card. You can get these on Amazon, super cheap. Basically, pull this off after you load it. It's done. Rip it off, put another one on there. Two of these can go together inside a magazine pouch. I pull another one on, I just pop it on, right? And then push these down, load them up through, just keep on going as I need to go through and breach. So obviously, pump action, very, very reliable, kind of old school, inexpensive firearm. This thing's probably $400 to $500, right? Yes, I added this as far as a rail system so I could mount this. Now, one of the things that we had mounted on here on the top, I'm going to end up mounting on the bottom, is a light and laser. I'm not a big visible laser fan, But when it comes to breaching, you put a visible green laser on here. I've got it's sitting right over there, but a flashlight, because you may need a flashlight, and then a visible green laser, meaning it's only across the threshold of the door. So if I'm shooting from across there, I'm just putting green dot on the wood that I want to go away, and then pull the trigger, and then rack it and keep doing that until the door can't stand anymore.
And that racket is fun in its own
It is. It's just it's a different animal. Like you get to it, and you know. I am not a huge fan of shotguns for where shotguns aren't needed. A lot of people, and they say, I love this because I hear it all the time. Yeah, just somebody's uncle got him a shotgun, and they go, you just do this. And most people are going to run for the hills. I'm like, unless they showed up with a loaded gun. When you do this, they just kill you because yours wasn't even loaded, right? And most people don't practice with shotguns because they hurt. If you're shooting them incorrectly, by the way, if there's a techniques to where they don't hurt, but most people don't know those, and they just get kicked, in the shoulder 10 times, and they go, oh, this sucks, this hurts, so they don't practice with it, which means you're not efficient, which means if you don't understand how buckshot works, and a lot of ladies whose uncles bought them shotguns don't understand those patterns get bigger. Right? So that distance that you're firing, let's say double-aught buck, if one of those balls, you're throwing 9 of them out there, and if one of them hits your child, you just killed them. It's like shooting them in the face with a 9mm, and you did it. Right? So knowing that there's a lot of math going on your distances, on your I've been to surgical shotgun shooting schools, right? And there is a way to do it, and most people aren't good at it. And if you are, fantastic, use one. But if you're not putting in the time to get good with it, you might want to consider a point shoot weapon, right? One bullet that you can put exactly where you need it to go, where the hold that you did at 3 yards, you try to apply that hold at 12 yards, you might shoot your kid in the face in some kind of hostage situation. So make sure that you know what you're doing, and there's a correct way to do it. So get professional instruction. Don't just go blasting away with your shotgun. Pattern that thing, know how to do it, know where the standoff is. Now, if there's no friendlies and all that stuff, you can't argue the power of a shotgun. Like it's just, like I said, it turns everybody 10 years old like that day. We're all giggling and high-fiving. That was awesome. And we're kicking doors in, and we're just removing wood and doing all this stuff, and hinges are blowing off and hardware's blowing off. Highly recommend it. Just know what you're doing. I wrote an article years and years ago called With Great Power Comes Great Responsibility. Yes. It means if you're going to have one, know how to use it, use it correctly, and don't get somebody hurt. Cool. So inexpensive, awesome item. You want to talk about some britches?
My britches.
This is like,
how is it my
we're
britches
so
are making the
close.
show?
We're so close. But how could they not, right? It's funny because I think it was Kate. It wasn't Melissa. It was Kate back in the day, and we're all talking about the DefenderFlex jeans, which I'm wearing, you're not wearing. That's what those are, right? And she's like, she walked in the room, and a bunch of guys are talking about like, these make my butt look big. I'm just kidding. We weren't talking about that. But it was just, we were talking about jeans because it's like, who doesn't like jeans? But these aren't really jeans. They're more like slacks painted like jeans.
That's the DefenderFlex.
These are the DefenderFlex.
Yeah.
However, let's talk about the ones you got on. Let's talk about those guys because I'm excited about these, the new ones.
Origin.
You're wearing the Origin.
I am. I love the denim, the quality of the denim. It's a thick jean, like an old school jean that stretches. It's a little stretchy, not quite like those DefenderFlex.
Yep.
But you can move around in them. And it's going in this direction because those DefenderFlex jeans last a minute.
They're disposable.
And then they're done.
Yeah.
And so
that's almost all I wear because they're so awesome, but they're disposable.
They are. They are. And
meaning quickly. Like, man,
right.
like these, I bought these like a minute ago. What just happened?
Right. And it's, kind of one of you started talking about all this in that a lot of it's in research phase.
Yeah.
Which it seems to me like we spend most of our time in the research
most of our lives.
Yeah. And it's like, and landing on the one thing is really hard to do. But if you stop searching, you guarantee you won't find it.
Right.
And so you got to just keep searching. And so I like the Origins for a whole bunch of reasons. The quality of the denim, how they fit, made in America, those kinds of things.
That's what I love. Like the Jocko getting equipment to bring manufacturing back to America, I don't mind paying more.
That's a big deal.
Like that part of it I really, really like.
Yeah. But there's some different things about them that I think they could take some lessons from 511.
I agree.
And so things like the mag pockets, things like where the belt loops are, makes a difference when you're carrying. And So it's those kinds of things that I wish there would be some crossover in that. And so it's if those technical aspects to the 511s, wouldn't it be nice if they made a more durable product?
Yeah.
And so that's, I go rolling in there and talking about what the shortcomings of the DefenderFlex were.
Yeah.
And so the guy pulls off the rack the DefenderFlex Evolve. Thank you.
Evolution,
yeah.
Evolve?
Evolution.
Is it Evolution or Evolve?
Sure.
Okay.
Where's our fact checkers? We got a fact checking
BK,
staff in here
what's
somewhere.
up?
Yeah. And he pulls them off, and so that's these guys, and they instantly you can tell they're heavier.
It's good.
It's a heavier material.
Yeah.
But
when it's cold out, because I noticed that, man, I went out to, I didn't even know what I was doing, something, but it was cold.
Yeah.
And I threw on those, the Jocko jeans, right? The Origin jeans.
Yeah.
And it's definitely different. Like I said, these are like slacks and they're painted like jeans.
Yeah.
And the world wears jeans. And people are like, well, what do they wear overseas? Jeans. What about that? Jeans. Like the jeans are all over the place, right? So I've been in very professional environments. I think 511, I've wore those on Huckabee. I wore those at the Western Service Summit with a jacket, right? The darker ones, the dark ones with like a suit coat. Right, that's about as fancy as I get. We call that Able Shepherd formal right there.
That is.
Right, and it does. I think it works. The look works or whatever, and I can move around. And if you put me in slacks, I'm not going to be me. And I need to relax and just be me in some of those deals. Right.
Right.
But like the wind cuts through them. Right. And you're going to see an outline of my phone in about 30 seconds after wearing them. Yeah. And same thing with my wallet. Like I carry stuff. You know the deal with
the bat belt.
Like, right? It's like Rachel makes fun of me. I'm like, what's happening right now? I don't roll like this, but this is like, we got deposits to make for the business. you know any money.
Sure.
But just stuff. She laughs and she's like, what's happening right now? And you can't have some shallow pockets, man.
No.
Like you can't put pockets this deep in your jeans.
No.
Right? And because when you bend down where it hits you, do you want to snap this phone in half or should it like set below where you're bending, right? That's just
the details.
Right?
Well, and I would say the opposite of that in terms of, the breeze cuts right through them.
Yeah.
Like I picked these up in the summer, actually from you.
Yeah. Because they didn't fit. I got the wrong size. And you're like, well, that's exactly my size. I go, hey, man, you just ordered me some of my size and boom, and it's done.
Yeah.
And
so I had them in the summer and you put these on in the summer. And it's like meltdown.
Yeah.
And so I couldn't wear them for a long time because it just was too much.
Yeah.
Well, now it was, 9 degrees the other day when we woke up?
Now all of a sudden it's like,
I got some long chonies on.
Get your long handles.
And these Origins.
Got your long handles and your thick jeans on.
I can take on the world.
And they stretch. I love that they give a little bit because
we're
we shooting from the kneeling posture and doing all that stuff and getting down low.
Yeah.
Jocko's obviously jiu-jitsu guy, black belt in jiu-jitsu. So that your clothing can restrict you. Right, that's what I immediately loved about the 511 DefenderFlex is, man, I could get down those shooting postures, at least while I can at 48 years old. I get down there, my jeans aren't holding me back, right? Now, me not being limber and not
ligaments
stretching out, that's a different thing. Ligaments
might,
and whatnot, that might hold me back, but my jeans aren't, right? So that's pretty cool. So the Evolve. Okay, so 511 DefenderFlex Evolve, thicker. Still, when he's talking about that, I just pulled it out. Typically, I have an extra magazine and a flashlight in this pocket, meaning not your back pocket. It's off to the side. When you sit down, you're not sitting on your stuff. It's off to the side. That's ingenious. Like if Jocko did that pocket, these belt loops and deeper pockets, probably all I'd buy. Well, maybe in the summer I'd have a pair of these or whatever.
Yeah.
But they're just good. You can tell the quality's pretty legit.
Yep.
Yeah. But for right now, this is pretty much all. I haven't got the Evolve yet. I still wear the throwaways.
Well, and the interesting thing, too, is like in talking about this, what can I reference that says they're heavier? I go on the website and
it says it's the same.
It says the same weight and all that, but it's not.
Yeah.
And so I don't know how to tell the difference other than when you grab them.
Make sure you get the
Evolve, and in an instant.
Yeah.
Because they're just heavier.
Yeah. And I'm excited to see like how they last, comparison, and all that kind of stuff. And by the way, have we talked about the Cavalier made? Have we talked about the wallet that Ryan made for us? That's a special made thing. But if you don't have a flashlight built into your wallet and a Fisher Space Pen, it's wrong, I think. Why wouldn't you? American man, whatever. Okay, let's talk about this, brother. Tell us about this and the application hunting and BDR. and how we use them, or
yes.
have used them.
Yeah, absolutely. Can I talk about how I got to this one?
But you can talk about whatever you want.
All right. So doing backcountry adventure riding on the BMW.
Mm-hmm.
There's a product called a Spot.
Yeah.
And it's a GPS beacon, and it's one-way traffic. You can send out, at least in the days when I had that original version, and you could send out, but you didn't really know. I mean, it was in theory that there was a green LED that told you were successful, but you didn't really know if your message was successful going out. And so then you go through this mental iteration of, well, do I go full-blown sat phone? And then that's a commitment. And you're like, do I really need that much thing? No, not really. And so then these Garmin's came out, this InReach. And now with this unit, I like this unit. They make the smaller one that's just about the size of where the screen is.
Yeah.
I like this one because I don't want to, the smaller one, you have to pair it with a phone.
Yeah.
And so then you have multiple pieces of equipment that you need to do one job. This one is old school, like the old school flip phones. When you had to text, you had to hit potentially the same button 3 times to get the letter you wanted.
7 times to get like an L or something.
Exactly. So this one's like that.
Yeah.
But it beats having to rely on a second piece of battery-operated machinery.
Which it also does, but you have the option.
You have the option.
Correct, yeah. And it's got a map. You
got a
can
map
use it
on
as a GPS. Like I mark, when I leave, I mark where the truck is.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. To go hunting. Yeah.
And so now we're using these things to text back and forth. So it's not full-blown phone communication, but it's two-way communication in pretty real time.
Yeah.
And that's significant.
So a hypothetical, just for the simpletons with technology like myself, what does it let me do when I'm out and about?
There's multiple things that it lets you do. One thing that it lets you do is send like a preloaded message that just says...
And I got no cell coverage.
No cell coverage.
I can basically just say, back to camp.
Yep.
And that's free because they're preloaded. I mean, you get so many, right, per month.
Right.
So you have to activate it and get a subscription.
Right.
So now we have no cell coverage whatsoever, and I can go onto my phone because I've got mine paired, and I can text you presets as many as I want, or say,
custom.
Hey, something as simple as, if you've ever done this and been out on motorcycle rides where you get no cell service and all that stuff, you miss one union point, like on a trail, you might not see each other for the rest of the week, right? Unless you have a way to track it. Or, I'm out hunting with Ron. That's such a funny joke. Should I say that right now? Yeah. So when we're out hunting, we separate, and I go off my way. And Jimmy Graham, I got cornholed, slipping on I call it like the up-down log. If you got a stick and one end's up and one end's down, that's about as bad as it gets on the mountains. Because when you hit it, it's a banana peel, right? Yeah. So I fall on a branch with a broken branch up. Luckily, the windage was off, and it hit me in my butt cheek. And it was like, so the joke began, but it tore in through my pants, and I thought I was bleeding. I thought I got impaled, but it just popped me good, right? So I got black and blue. Yeah. So the joke was, don't go hunting alone with Ron because you come back. Never mind. So anyways, if you got hurt, I wasn't hurt. I came back. It just hurt. It was an injured. If you go down, now it's like you're not back at camp, and now the what ifs start coming up, right? Sure. And you have no way to get somebody if you're not in radio comms, right? With this guy, you can actually send a text with your phone, and it takes a little bit longer. It's not instant, but a minute later or whatever. If they've got that device on their phone, it will come up and that you're in trouble. Yep. And they can say, this is where I'm at, and you can pull it up and start navigating there, correct? Absolutely. Right? So the presets, I can mark leaving the truck or the camp or whatever and say where it's at, and now just kind of go, I recommend a map study. I bought some maps, brought them out hunting, all that stuff, just knowing where you're at and all that stuff. But man, it's funny. You get the old school team guys and all that stuff, and they're like, well, what if it breaks? What if it doesn't? It doesn't, man. It's freaking awesome. And I know how to use a map and compass, by the way. So if you know how all that stuff too, grab it, keep it, put it in your pack and all that stuff, then use that and only use that. Sure. And default on this to save your life if you need it, but you probably won't, right?
Right.
It's a good deal, man.
It's a great deal. I don't know. It seems like in this community, there's a lot of people with lifestyles where you're out there. And so I'll give it to my wife. She goes on these lady backpack trips, and they're in very remote places. And it's a way she checks in, like she tells me when she's launching into her day and from where she's starting. And then she texts me when they get to whatever camp they're going to be at that night. And so it's nice to know those things, but also if she doesn't check in, I have a limited search area on where I know she was last known, and where she was headed. And so if she's not checking in, it's narrowing it down to between those points, rather than just not knowing.
Montana.
Well, they were going to do 110.
They were heading to
loop.
Montana. I know that.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, good luck with that.
Right.
Or the Bob Marshall.
Right.
Could you be a little more specific? That's a good
Please.
chunk of land.
Yeah. The largest untracked land in the lower 48. Just cruising up to the Bob for a second.
And very heavy in grizzly bears. Right?
Yeah. So this gets used a lot for backpacking. It gets used a lot for hunting trips. It gets used for moto trips. I don't know. I find myself using it way more than I ever thought I was going to when I was researching. Because, if you make those decisions on what plan you want, and you're like, we've talked about this, where you have a million different monthly payments for things, and it's a death of 1,000 cuts. So it's like, one more monthly payment I'm not interested in. But this is a very
Worth
good. And you can shut it down.
And I just pause mine. So typically our first BDR, I kick it on, leave it on all summer. Hunting, after we get back, I just turned it off, right? So you just pause it.
So mine will get paused for December, but
you got. So this is another thing that we're playing with, and this is nothing more than the mag. It's a tactical Tailor called a MAV 2-piece, and it's made for modular system for carrying magazines. Is my audio okay? Sorry. And I wore this hunting this year. And it puts on like a jacket, and then it just snaps around the front, and you can make it as modular as you want. You can put whatever you want, right? I like having the material. I wasn't going to wear a vest under this. I can hook this on here, and then have it connected while I'm out hiking and doing all that kind of stuff, and use it for naving or whatever, and just have it right there. These are my binos for hunting. I pull all this stuff off when I'm riding a motorcycle, and I put closed pouches. This is for my, obviously this isn't real gun, but that's for my 10 mil. I just played around with having it there. That's not where it's going to land. I'm going to mess around and move around with it. But all of this comes off, and I put a zipper pouch, and that does have a concealed 9mm in there while I'm riding in the backcountry. Typically more concerned about two-legged critters than I am about four-legged critters anyways, but it's good for that too down here. Now, if I'm up in Alaska, if I'm up in Montana, if I'm up in Grizz country, then it's going to probably be that 10 mil. And then on both sides. So I'll have some just stuff on my body. I saw that one, the black one, you familiar with it?
Yep.
That the motorcycle company makes, Wolf. And that was cool. But one, I want it in brown, and two, I didn't want it set up that way. I wanted modular, and it's kind of built that way. And when we found this, the reason that I picked the Tactical Tailor, it was most like one I used in the teams that I loved called a Rhodesian. It was built that way, and it wasn't modular. Back then, they sewed the pockets on, and it was only one way. Once it became modular, we're done here, right? And I want the one that zips up the front, buttons up the front, like with the Fastex, because if it's a panel, yes, you get more real estate, but it runs super, super hot. And they're hard to put on and off. This is a breeze, and it's easy at 10 stops a day just to pull on, put off, whatever, and put we're under. So been playing with that and kind of figured out. One of the main things on the inReach that we kind of grazed over was I want to have it in reach. I want to have it like if you fall off a cliff and fold this safety button off and mash that, now it's actually emergency beacon. Now people are looking for you. So you're all stove up at the bottom of a thing because you came off your bike off of some canyon or something. Now somebody's coming because you've got an emergency beacon that is monitored, so they're coming to you. So it's a good piece of kit. All right, what else we got? You familiar with this rapid rope, utility rope? So I got to thank Perry Saul for this one, right? Because that's the first time I saw it. I'm like, what you got going on? We were tying something down on a truck. I think it was a bunch of inflatables for kids. We were moving them up from one part of the river to another one. And he pulls out this dental floss, 120 foot of dental floss with, I think is it 1,300 BK? It's insane. It's something like 1,300 pounds test. So there's 550 cord, and obviously the anybody in the military is absolutely familiar with. But I think is that what it says? 1,300 pounds? I don't have my glasses on.
1,100.
1,100. So a little extra credit. 1,100 pounds, and basically you pull off the chunk you need, and just like dental floss, you pull it through a razor blade and cut it off. Right? Obviously, you burn the ends so it doesn't fray. Anybody who's ever done anything for 5 minutes knows that. The 550 cord, 1-inch tubular, and what we call rigger's tape. It's not duct tape. It's a different tape, kind of holds the military together, right? Yeah. So when I saw this, and you just screw off the top and do a refill, drop it in there, and it's rapid rope. It's got a couple knots on here. Yep. We were talking about with the guys, a square knot and a bowline. That's about all you need to know for the rest of your life. Yep. Those 2 knots. But I keep it in my truck. That's why it's all beat up, and use it regularly. Yep. So it's super, super handy. We talk about this year, we did a length of material. I didn't go 1 inch. I went 1/2 inch tubular is what we call it. It's a little bit off. 1/2 inch tubular. And one of my platoons, there was a mountaineering instructor, and he made everybody in the platoon, he's my LPO, what's up, Kevin, had everybody carry a 6-foot loop, which is basically 13 foot of cordage, right? And then you tie it in a loop and put it on your gear. So if you fold it up, it doesn't really take a lot of space. I rigged one over here, and basically what that means is, not like boondock saints where you're like, I need some rope. It's like nobody carries rope. You're going to carry a big thing of 100 foot of rope on you. But if everybody carried 13 feet of rope, we had actually been to places where we needed to get over buildings. Yeah. And you can climb up buildings. If you've got your 6-foot loop, I can girth hitch it to yours, and you can get me up a 2-story building. You know what else you can do with that 6-foot loop? You can measure your 2-foot, 6-foot veg for septhead. There you go. See, septhead. Right there. You just pull it out there and be like, no veg. So, you can fix a rucksack with it. Like if you've ever had a rucksack or your bag blow out and stuff's coming out, you can mend it. You can fix it. You can pull a buddy out of there. You can rig like we've got it on this one. We'll show in just a second. So we gave everybody, integrity, honor, integrity, accountability are our core values at Able Shepherd. So we had a gift that was that Kyoto 2 it was a cold steel knife, and in it was engraved honor. And then integrity was that loop and that story about having that integral part of like a team. We can lower everybody's bag down a 100-foot cliff if everybody has that loop, right? So, and we carabiner as well. So quick locking carabiner, you have to twist and that loop. Yeah. And the other one was a saw like that. Don't be too busy driving to stop for gas, stop and sharpen the saw, all those. So we got those silky saws. You've seen those? It's like a pocket knife, but it's a saw this long. Yes. They use them on a loan, actually, the big ones. Yes. It's an amazing pocket saw that you could build a log cabin with, basically, right? So it was honor, integrity, and accountability. So off on a tangent on that with the cordage, but we'll get back to that. Speaking of cordage, talk about cutting it. This is just some like little jank. I had a piece of Kydex and I just made a little sheath so it wouldn't stab through my tool bag. Cutco scissors. You've heard me rave about these things. You've probably seen on the rides and all that. I use these things for everything. So we had like the young kid friend of a friend that came over and did the Cutco. Have you ever done that? Yeah. They do the Cutco cut a penny in half. Yeah. So with these, they cut a penny in half and they start chopping up vegetables and all that stuff. Yeah. And they go on talking about their knives and the quality. I'm staring at those scissors and I'm like, and then it keeps coming. Yes. And they're like, you take them apart, you can do all this stuff. So I actually recommend in our teachings for active shooter, if they can't have firearms in school, get a pair of scissors and put them in a coffee cup, right? But get these scissors, because these suckers, I don't know if you could break these if you tried, and they're robust and you could, defend your life and defend. And it's funny because people are like, man, I'm not stabbing anybody. That's gross. I'm not stabbing a kid. I'm not stabbing some kind of assailant. I said, well, what if they're going to kill your kids? And they're like, give me the thing, and they're like, now all of a sudden, that's a thing, in particular with women, with teachers, with people, they're just kind of not really into the safety thing until you mention kids. Yeah. Now all of a sudden, it's like, we say it here, winner take all. Winner take all means if I get past you, I get to do whatever I want to those kids. And all of a sudden the scissors come apart and you're like, all right, that ain't happening, right? Yeah, and because you can make a string of gingerbread. Yeah, you've seen me like cut up meat like for the kids. I'll cut stuff up in the kitchen. Fantastic. I keep one of these in the block. They're not cheap. They're like $80, $90. Yeah. But I've had these forever. These live in my truck. The other ones live in the butcher block in my kitchen. Yeah. And we've had some other ones that were made by, I don't know, Farberware or the kitchen things, and those are, whatever. But these are fantastic. And Cutco scissors, right? All right, what else we got? Let's talk about these. What do you got with this?
The Anytone. What I got with this is an excellent resource in Brad. That's what I got in this. because
You're
it's
like,
like I
make
am
sure
not
you get a
gonna be-
Brad. When you
make
get
sure
one of these,
yeah, this
you must have a Brad, meaning a dude that knows how to
a
program
dude,
it and
a
teach you how
dude
to
that
use
knows
it.
things, right? 'Cause
You always
I'm
want a dude that knows things is handy.
Yeah, absolutely. And I started out with another radio.
Yeah.
And it had its limitations.
Yep.
And so we landed on this Anytone.
Yep.
And now I have 2 of them in my van, and they
Yeah.
just kind of come with me everywhere. And it turns out, like, I use them, like we used them even on the BDR,
Yeah.
where instead you're not trying to text each other and whatever, you just flip on the radio
Yeah.
and instant communication.
It's pretty much a given that anything that we do, there's going to be a radio. We have a frequency that is primary and secondary. We now have a repeater. Like literally our 501c3 has put in a repeater as a public safety thing in my hometown. Like if phones don't work and you're a part of our group and you have invested a little bit of time and money into getting this stuff set up. And by money, I mean, this is a digital version of the one you talked about. If you go and get a $40 radio, it's going to work.
Right.
Now it's just radios have come a long way. It's going to get you on that repeater. It's going to get you on your ham channels. We do those classes, get licensed here for free. We do all of this stuff. You got to do a little bit of work and get a little bit of instruction, but we've really streamlined it. This is the step up. When we went to digital, it's a different thing.
It is.
That's about a couple $100, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
What are they now? 250, 260? What are you thinking? 3?
Three.
Okay. BK's our fact checker's giving us
Supply
the
chain.
Yeah. Thanks, Obama. Whatever. So from here, if you've got $300 into this thing, everything's crisper and it just works.
It just
right?
works.
And now you can actually program it with your name, blah, 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 put your call sign in it and all that kind of stuff. So making sure that it's legal. We have that, is it MGRS? Is that the GMRS?
GMRS.
Yeah, whatever. I think you pay $35 for 10 years, and now you can get on that repeater throughout the town and talk to anybody and everybody. Is just follow a couple of rules, right?
Yeah.
No real test. You just end up getting to know the ins and outs. But then ham, guys are getting this very simple test, go on, free test, get a call sign, and now come on with your call sign, and the capability is unbelievable. So anything that we do pretty much, if phones don't work, like they go out to the range, it's out there in Kiowa, you get out there, and if nobody's at the gate, turn on your radio.
Yep.
And somebody comes up and they come let you in, right? It's just a given. Anything we do, we're on that certain frequency. So something to start getting your hands on and messing with before you need it, right?
Oh, big
Because
time.
like if you bought one and it's in the box, you're talking to nobody, and you turn it on and you're going to sit there and try to figure it out during Armageddon or whatever. So I'm not down with that. So if you mess with it and play with it and get the kids on it and doing all that kind of stuff and using it, you're going to know how to lock the pad. You're going to know how to change frequencies. You're going to know how to do all that stuff, and then get it to find a smart guy, and then he programs
find a
it.
Brad.
And I just put it on the channel and
Well,
start
and the
talking.
other thing too, like you see, like talk about that and talk about how you get to, because once you start using the radio and you're using it in different environments, you have to be able to interface with it in different ways.
Right.
And so talk about this and how you use this compared to some other setups that you might use with the same radio.
And you see police officers and all that. You might have a pouch with this locked and already set up there, and this running up through over your shoulder, under your shoulder, and then clipped onto your gear. So now you just reach over, you can hear out of this and talk into this. So you're not having to go down here, right? And they have other ones where you can actually take and put the little secret, it's in that bag right there, but it's that little Secret Service coiled microphone, so it's in your ear. We got other setups that you unplug this, plug this one in, and it goes into your ear pro that is protecting your ears and amplifying your voice talking to me, and immediately pipe it in when I hear somebody calling me on the radio. So it does all of these things. They're not cheap. The high quality ones are some bucks, but that's where we're at now. Right. You can protect your ears. You can still have a conversation, actually enhances your hearing, and not miss a call that's an emergency from a guy in another range or in another area. You can take off this antenna, wire this right into your car to the antenna on your roof, and do the same thing. So there's just so many things that you can do that when I was a communicator in the SEAL teams, radios were this stinking big, and the encryption device was this stinking big, and they all had these bricks that were batteries.
Bricks for batteries.
And a cable that connected them, and then a laptop, so you could basically do what you can do with this right now. Like I could send some dude in whatever, Washington, D.C., a video right now, and it used to take all that stuff to do it. So like what radios do nowadays are unbelievable, and they're a good resource. Like I said, if something went wrong, you'd need them, and if things go right, they're fun to have.
Would you say it's true that in radios you get what you pay for?
Yeah.
Because that's a steep bill, right? Three bills.
Yeah, it's no joke. Like, I think we look at both here. We always want to be cognizant of, even the classes, like the tactical training. Mm-hmm. People are like, you need to raise your prices. I'm like, I always want to be able to train people, moms, dads, like grandmas, grandpas, all this kind of stuff to do this because tactical training is very expensive. Well, ours come down to, we made it $87.50 per class if they do the membership and all that other stuff. That shotgun, that is not a top end shotgun. Mm-hmm. That's a Mossberg Shockwave, right? Mm-hmm. Will it do the job? Will it cut a door in half? It will. You know how I know? Because we just cut a door in half, long ways. I highly recommend it. It's a lot of fun. Right. BK's doing this. That was just so much fun on so many levels. It was just awesome. But if you had a locked door and you need to get through it, would that do it? Yes, it would.
Sure.
We just proved that, right? So I would say that's that level that anybody could kind of, if they want to get into there, get into that capability that they could afford. But now we're looking at the one you've got. That one's not, $500, right?
It's not.
But the capability it brings is next level, right? Even like I said, we had a professional come out, first time he'd ever done that kind of gun. He looked up and just started giggling like, this is awesome. Like, that's good data, right? That's good data. Good feedback. So I think on those, the second I picked it up, would the other ones use it? The little cheap $40 radios but when they don't transmit well, and it's like, hey, it's like, Lassie, is Timmy trapped in a tunnel? It's like, wait, I'm not hearing you talking. It's like, are you in a tunnel right now? Jay, are you okay? Whatever. No, I'm just checking in, whatever. Right. These guys are crisp. The components as well. If you get the bottom of the barrel kind of stuff, maybe, and I heard somebody say this about those radios. If it turns on out of the box, it's probably pretty good. If it's broke, it's probably shipped broke. And I'm like, that's not a good answer, man. I've got kind of a saying, new stuff should work, right? It just should, So I don't want to hear about a break-in period. And I don't want to hear about, you got the Friday model. I don't want to hear about any of that. Figure it out or don't start a business, right? So anyways, this guy, I just want to talk, I just happen to throw this on the table, but I can't get away from carrying this knife. Like there are, and this is why. It's got a decent blade on it. It is a Leatherman. I'm not a big multi-everything like it does everything in the world, but this is why. Primarily these two right now, flathead, Phillips head, right? And they lock. Right. And I use them maybe daily, and I can't not carry this. Right? So even though I just got this new shebang-a-bang, like this thing is freaking legit. This is Sniper Bladeworks. What do we say? DMF? DMF is the model. It is a custom folder, so they're not cheap. It was super cool. I went and checked it out and felt it, put it back down, walked back in today and said, hey, that blade, because it's in my head. Because if you're like that person and you see a blade design and it talks to you, most people aren't, by the way. But most blades and knives don't really catch my attention. And when they do, I'm like thinking about it. So I walked over, I was like, let me see that again, and pulled it out. Anyways, I appreciate you guys at a Damage Factory, Ken and Mike. Thanks for taking care of me. I went and looked at it and holding it. He's like, what do you think? We can maybe help you out with it, and cut me a good deal. And it's pretty cool. So I am definitely a knife guy, definitely a blade guy. But that particular design, it's Damascus steel. It's made well, and it's pretty stinking cool. A little heavy. I would be a special purpose thing. I wouldn't carry it probably every day, but I will carry it some. I was carrying around today and kind of checking it out. Yep. So let's see what else we got, brother. Oh, Crispi. Can't forget that. You want to talk about those? Because you're the one that I think you and Ron. Actually, Ron, was it Crispi's or Damascus? Damascus. What is it? Kenetrek. Kenetrek and Crispi. Go ahead and go.
I'm a Crispi guy.
You're a Crispi guy.
Through and through?
Through and through.
Over
Kenetrek.
Over
really?
Kenetrek, yeah. And where that came from is I've got buddies really close to me that have needed to engage with Kenetrek customer service. Yeah. And it was less than how you or I would do business.
Gotcha.
And so went down the Crispi route, and like stuff should work out of the box. Yeah. The first time I ever used, I didn't break them in. I didn't have time to break them in. Grabbed them and was elk hunting and had a 12 plus mile up, down, and my feet were fantastic. And I'm so fickle when it comes to hiking boots, hunting boots. Yeah. Like I have to try on 10 different pairs to even get in the right ballpark. It's a really frustrating thing for me to boot shop. And so when I find a pair that works, I'm all in.
That's good. I totally get it. Totally get it.
Yep.
And I just, you know what I did? And it's, Jock, I love you, brother. I just got the Jocko boots, the Bill boots, and because they are, and I dig the old school. There's nothing. There's no liner. There's no Gore-Tex. It's leather.
It's just leather
and a good sole.
Yeah.
They're what do you call them? Loggers type boots.
Yeah.
But they were one size off because I was thinking I usually go a little bit bigger because of all the stuff, whatever. Yeah. And they weren't, which I like. So I had to send them back. So they're going to be coming back, and I'm really excited about them because one, again, that American made, it's vibram-sole, blah blah blah. It's a good looking boot. Yeah. It does have a safety sole in it, which I didn't expect. But now I'm talking about the breaching thing. Remember that? Yeah. So we'll see how it goes. But I'm excited to review those as well when they come in. These guys, I did take my feet are changing, brother. I've heard about this and I didn't know that. How old are you? 48.
That stuff's going to change.
Right. So it's like I don't know. They broke in this year hunting. Last year, they jammed me up a little bit, and I thought I got the wrong size, and I was kind of ticked off, and then I wore them elk hunting this year, and legit, I mean, with gaiters on, up to my knees in snow and beyond, and my feet were not an issue at all this year. And it was fun, and it was cool, and all that kind of stuff. I do want to point this out, because I do this with all my boots. I thought everybody did this, and people are like, what you got going on here? Is the paracord. So if you, I've done this for forever, right, is 550 cord. If you're a military person, you know this. It comes with I think it's either 7 or 9 little strands on the inside, right? So measure these out for your boots. You'll never break a bootlace ever again, because when you're in the mountains and you break it, it's not funny, right? Gut it, take it all out. And once you gut it, this stuff lays flat. Now it's more like tape than it is a round cord pushing in on anywhere, and then run them through just like normal. And when I put these on my feet, I pull tight, and then I cross them, right? I go zip, and I don't know if you can see that, BK, and I catch the first hooks. This is on my foot. And once I get in the first hooks, I pull it tight again, just pull, and then I cross it again into the hooks, and then I pull, and I cross it again. And then when you get up to the top, you basically just jam it into that hook, and obviously they're not on my feet, and you're never going to tie them again. They stay in a loop tied forever, and you got a handle, you wham, and then cross them, wham, cross them, and then wham, and then cross them, and your boots are done. And you never tie them again. And you'll never break. I've never broken a pair of these because it's not that cord that comes and gets wet and rottens after a couple of years. Yeah. And then in the ocean, that's, obviously this was like a military thing, is like in the ocean, in the muck, in the mud, sometimes you take care of your boots. And I have actually thrown boots that were absolutely done and have done their duty and pulled this off and put them on the next boots, right? So just, because I'm a cheap bastard is probably why. But anyways, it absolutely works. It's like really, that's about like 7 cents. Yeah. But anyways, but they're measured, they're all that kind of stuff, especially with the same boot. But anyways, very happy with these boots. So thanks for that recommendation. And I did go out in a different pair hunting with Ron, and he had those on, and he was just giggling the whole time, and mine were a wreck, whatever the last ones were, they didn't fit right. Yeah. Last thing I got, but you got anything else, brother? We'll talk about that in a minute. I want to talk about this is the Massaro pad, is that we've been playing around with these. And at first they were the neoprene, and they were really good because they were so grippy. That neoprene's really grippy. So if we sell it to like a woman that has like yoga pants on, she's not wearing a belt. It's you can tuck in, and then these little wires actually grab tight enough to where it's going to hold a firearm, right? If it's got to have a good, decent waistband, but not a belt. And the garment goes here, and it clips onto here, right? And and guys too. I'm not just saying women, but guys should wear a belt. I don't trust a man that doesn't wear a belt.
Do you trust a guy that wears yoga pants?
Be a toss-up. No belt or yoga pants. I don't know. Buy a belt, I guess. But anyways, from here, you can actually, and I didn't know if I'd like this. I didn't like the neoprene, so we said, can you do it in leather? And they ventilated it like generously so it doesn't get hot and sweaty, that little wet spot on your words from sweat. Yeah. And then you can change whatever holster you want. So it's a simple Kydex, not much to it. This one happens to be for a Glock 48. And I like to go with an FBI cant, so an angle forward like that. And I know exactly where it goes to where when it locks on, it fits very much like my favorite best holster in the world is the
Milt Sparks
Criterion, right? The Milt Sparks Criterion, boom. But they don't make one for a flashlight, right?
Right. So, that was going to be my question in looking at that is the flashlight model.
We've got it. So we've got it. God made one. I loaned it to somebody to test it, but you just pull this off, put the one with the flashlight on, and now just carry your, if you care to do that. It's a lot for inside your pants, right? If you're going outside the waistband, then it's easy. But the inside the waistband option, super comfortable, breathes well. I absolutely love it. I would say at this point, second favorite. So, Milt
That's
Sparks has
saying
got, it's saying a lot, brother, because you know that how I roll. It's like the holster thing. If you're going to wear something all day, every day,
right,
it's got to be right, or it's going to bug you all day, every day.
That's right.
Right. So, pretty happy with that one, but still, I would say buy a Milt Sparks. Somebody just said this. Which one should I get? Milt Sparks. Which one? Criterion. Get it Ford Camp. Blah, blah, blah. They order it and they go, dang it, it's going to be 7 months. What do I order before then? Get one of these. And it's modular, so it's not like you're going to make a bad decision here. Cool.
Right.
BK, do you know this? I don't know if you know this. What's this called, by the way? KUIU. Is it a KUIU base camp? Yes. That sounds right. You can't get this anymore. No. What's up with that? I love this jacket. I know you do too. When you see like BK, myself, Parker, who else? Melissa, Everett. When you see somebody, when you own the jacket and you see somebody else wearing theirs and you wish you would have brought yours, it's a good jacket, right? And they don't make it anymore. I think they're coming out with one. They make a lighter version of this. But when I pick this up, it's deceptively heavy. It's lined well, right? But anyways, I can't say enough good things about this. And I get comments on this jacket more than any other jacket I've ever had. This guy, the name that shall not be named, is my thing gone? Yeah. After COVID, I'm wearing it because cheap bastard, no one would throw it away. But I like the vest, but I'm done buying from this brand, right? It's just not going to happen anymore. So I've either pulled off, in my silent rebellion is to pull off the thing and not buy another one. And eventually end up in the trash. So right when we were looking for that, we came across KUIU and we developed a relationship with them, and they sent this jacket and that was a done deal. But now they've discontinued it and they've got something else that's a little bit lighter, and I'm sure it's great because we're actually getting some for some gifts and all that kind of stuff. But tell me again, base camp? KUIU Base Camp. KUIU Base Camp, fantastic. We just did the Wyoming BDR. We just did the special event. We've done a bunch of stuff wearing these jackets. And I'm not wearing them because, look at me, I'm wearing your jacket. I was wearing your jacket because your jacket's awesome. We just happen to do cool stuff, right? Last thing, I think you want to throw that. I hope it doesn't tear up your shirt, man. So this is my belt. Go and chunk that sucker. Oh, here we go. This is let's do it all. Let's throw that thing on there. Man, you're going heels right now, man. This wasn't made to put over top of another.
Well, that's the difference between yours and mine.
That might want to come this way just a little. Well, it's okay.
Demonstration will be
so good. Face that way. Turn face that way. Gotcha. What's that muzzle, son? Cool. So that sucker goes right there, just in case. That guy. This is Warrior Assault. You just got to undo one, actually. Yeah. So both of those are quick releases, which I'm a big fan of. Such. Good. Boom. Go ahead and throw that guy in. This way. We're getting the cue over yonder way.
Wait, I've only done this once. It's awkward for me.
Yeah. This takes a little getting used to, but once you figure it out and do it while you're wearing it, getting out of it is literally just grab this and pull to the floor, as opposed to messing with this, the Velcro up, especially if you've got mags on here. This whole flat thing just isn't fun anymore. So can you spin around backside? We were talking about that length of material. Right now, that's that 6 foot loop, so 13 foot of material, 1/2 inch tubular. Now, where this came from is somebody else told me this. This is not my idea. Man, I want to say it was maybe Dark. Hey, what is it called? Dark something? The medical? Dark Angel? Whatever. Anyways, somebody was telling me about this, is that it makes a ton of sense to me, right? Is if you grab this handle and he's unconscious and I start pulling it, this plate, which is ballistic, this is just foam because this is a brand new one off the rack, will come up and it could actually crush his windpipe, right? So you're dragging your buddy and you end up crushing his windpipe, and he dies not from his injuries, from what you did, right? So you're taking your loop that you might need anyways, that you can unlace and use for something else, and run that carabiner on the belt. So now hook it there, grab all of this, and now he's just getting a massive wedgie. He's pulling up on his belt, and you're dragging him, and you're lassoed his hips, and now you're pulling him, and you're not bringing this plate into his neck. Does that make sense? So that's that. Just one more use of that loop would be having something there that I could just pull it off. Everybody grab your loop, and I untie that, and I just pull it out of there, and we can girth them all. Usually you do a water knot, which is basically an overhand knot, and then come back on itself, pull it back through. Very secure knot, and I wouldn't even untie it. I would just girth hitch mine into yours, and we keep doing that. Like there's a way to go over homes, like literally over buildings, by putting my wrist through it and having 2 guys, and I run up the wall. You just start pulling, and I run right up the wall with my kit. And 2 grown men, 3 grown men can do it. They can pull you up until everybody's up, kind of thing. Usually the little guy goes up first. You know, the climber guy.
What are you doing this weekend?
And, I know, right? Let's go just break into some homes. Wait, what? But again, from over here, that breacher shotgun, it's going to move around a little bit, but it's doable, right? You got your rounds, zip to it. You're getting after it, breacher up, reach over with this hand, push down on this button, out it comes, right? It just fits right into this metal clasp, and then you're getting after it, and you need it. Just push down, pull up, boom, done. Do your deal, put it back in, clear the breech, they enter, now you secure it, and you go, right? So, yeah, that's what we got.
Makes sense.
Okay, man. So we got some good stuff going on here. Crispi, that's CRISPI. And these are the Legends, right? Nevada. Is it Nevada Legend?
I believe so.
Something like that. I don't have my glasses on. Nevada, non-insulated. Yeah. And these guys are Gore-Tex, but not insulated, and they're plenty warm. Did you go insulated? I think you went insulated, didn't you?
My Nevadas are uninsulated. But what I was telling you is, like, 50 years old. I sit in a tree stand and it's 15 degrees out. It's like I need an insulated boot if I'm just sitting there.
Yeah, if you're sitting, that's no good.
Yeah, but if I'm hiking around, they're uninsulated.
Yeah, that's what I've been going with. Like the uninsulated is just I don't need it. But yeah, like if you're running a range, and that's where I really, when I was working with the agency and we were standing on a range, on a cold range, because it's rain or shine whenever, and everybody's moving but you. You're like the RSO, and you're the DRSO, Dynamic Range Safety Officer, and you're just standing there grading people, and it sucks it out of you. Like the gravel or the concrete or the fill in the blank. Yeah. So you got to have good gear. Yeah. All right, brother. Any final thoughts? Any other thing that you can think of?
I think my thought is, I've been to your house. I know your bins of gear, plural. My house is the same. I think it's, sometimes I beat myself up because I feel like, man, it's just, I'm trying to find the right thing.
Yeah.
And what I don't want to do is try something out, know that it's not quite right, and then have a buddy ask about a product that I know isn't totally right.
Yeah.
And so you're just trying to find the next thing, trying to find the next thing, trying to find the next thing. And it's, I don't know, I think for people in this community, I wish there was just an easy button for all of it, and you just bought the one thing, and that's all you ever needed to buy.
Here's the deal, though. That's us.
Yeah.
I love doing this. This
too.
is what I want to do when I grow up. Like, I want to go out all day, every day to find the gear.
Yeah.
So many people, and this is especially after 2020. I just had this conversation earlier. Before then, it was people that wanted to tweak their gun. I want to mess with my thing. I want to build my own AR. Not anymore. Most people, you tell me what to buy, I trust you, and then you teach me how to use it, and here's a big check.
Yeah.
A little something in for you because you got a business that's going. I want it to be successful. Yeah. That's the thing now, right? Yeah. And I take that very seriously, very, very seriously.
Absolutely.
I love this holster, but say I didn't. If I have this holster and it costs whatever, it's not expensive at all, but let's say it's $100, right? Yep. It's not even. But if it was $100 and I wore it and I didn't like it, I can't sell it to you.
Right.
So now what do I do with it? People are like, well, just sell it, dude. Why would I sell it to somebody? I want them to have a good holster. Right. Well, you don't even know them. Just screw them. I'm like, I can't do that. I'm not that guy. So it lives in my bag of misfit holsters, right? And most people have one.
Right.
Do the math. How much is in that bag for you? I'm over $1,000.
Oh, yeah.
Well over.
Yeah.
Right? So if I can help one person spend the money on that Milt Sparks holster, on this Massaro holster, they're done.
Yeah.
Now, you can always go Gucci, but if they wish to have a quality thing, they're done for the rest of their life.
That's right.
That Milt Sparks gets better every year. It's like a ball glove.
Man.
And I'm not a leather holster guy.
Yeah.
But that one, I am. It's got that metal that's sewn into it to hold it open.
Yeah.
That's a fantastic holster. And every year it gets better. And if I lost it, I would probably cry. Maybe not, but whatever. I just borrowed another one.
Well,
I've got 3 of them.
You'd cry for 7 months.
Yeah, until a new one came. Right? All right, cool. So I think at the end of all this, get quality gear. And as we say in my house, BK, take care of your gear. and it'll take care of you. That's right. So I think if you get good quality gear, and we even talked about this a little bit today, about like those heirloom gifts, that MP Sage line that we've got going on. It's a little bit secretive now, but it's going to get bigger, is having heirloom gifts, meaning gifts that will outlive you. Like what kind of things that you have in your possession that your son will give to his children, that your daughter will give to her children, the thing that will be like, that used to belong to Jimmy Graham. Who? That dude that used to be alive a long time ago. It's a big deal. Right. And I think right now we live in a disposable age where stuff just goes in the trash can. Right. So I think it's cool. We're bringing it back, making it cool again.
Yes.
All right, guys. We're going to go call this one wrap. BK, thank you, sir. Appreciate you, brother, for making it all happen. He's giving me the double thumbs up back there. Jay, safe travels tomorrow. Appreciate you. Love you, brother. Thank you, man. This is a good one. And we'll do this again. So just take notes. We'll get that Gen 12 in here. We're going to run it plenty.
Yes.
We're going to go meet those folks. You know them. You're going to introduce me. And then we're just going to continue to try to find out what's the best fit for this community and adding capability.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, brother. All right, guys. That's a wrap for this one. So be sure, like I said, if you're listening to the audio, I think you get plenty out of it. You'll just have to use your imagination, look this stuff up. Eventually, we're going to put more of this stuff together on our online store, e-commerce. Right now, we're just doing it because we love it. And it's very cool to be those people that go out and find the things that work. So we love sharing it. I've heard the term maven. And if you've ever heard of that Tipping Point book, the people that find a thing and they can't wait to tell everybody about it. In this world, I'm kind of that guy. I love dealing with this stuff. I love that I get to do this. So thank you to my amazing staff that allows me to do all this stuff as well. Please consider supporting us by just following us on Facebook, liking our stuff. It does mess with algorithms. It does. It's cool to get feedback. Not the jokers that are like, oh, that thing's not even, you're wrong about the battery or the whatever. You can just save it or whatever. But it is cool to hear back from people saying, keep going. This helped me. I bought this. I'm happy with it. So please support us on social media and check us out at ableshepherd.com. All right, guys. Till we see you again, God bless each and every one of you. Take care of one another.